Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new I Don't Work Here Lady stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first story is titled Mistaken for a Mounted Police Officer by Another Police Officer. I was riding my horse from home and was making my way home. I live near to Derbyshire Constabulary County HQ, and a police car coming the other way stopped and a WPC stuck her head out. "Excuse me. Are you in the mounted section? I am trying to find the entrance. I am from Notts Police." I looked at her car and it said nottinghamshire.police.uk and I don't know where the entrance is. "I don't work here, I just live near here. The entrance is over there," I pointed. "Thank you," she smiled and waved. "No problem, bye," smiled and waved back. Notes: Notts Police County HQ is only 13 miles away. Derbyshire hasn't had a mounted section for decades. Stanley and I were wearing orange high-vis. Mounted police wear yellow, with blue and white check inlays and the word police. The next story is titled I Don't Work Here Lady, I'm 11. Just remembered this from years ago. My mum and I went to Big Lots after picking me up from school, junior high to be exact. I was a tall 11-year-old in 7th grade, but even a tall 11-year-old wouldn't pass as an employee, or so I thought. Anyways, I'm looking around on my own when an old lady walked up to me. "Old lady, where's blank?" "Excuse me, miss. ... Excuse me." I looked at her like a deer in headlights. "Old lady, well, are you working or not?" I stare some more. "Old lady, don't you work here?" "Me, no. I'm 11. I point to the school's logo on my school uniform. I'm wearing a red polo with my school's logo and khaki pants. "Old lady, oh, you look older, and I saw your shirt." I looked over to a Big Lots cashier wearing a black polo and blue jeans, realizing our uniforms are nowhere near the same. Old lady followed my gaze and I think she connected the dots that I looked nothing like an employee. She just mumbled and walked off, and I ran to my mum like the little deer I was. The next story is titled Woman Mistakes 13-year-old Me for Store Employee. Before we get started, here's a little background. Me, as a 13-year-old, was 5 feet 6 inches, 150 pounds, and paranoid and spry as duck. My favorite clothes at the time were a red polo and black jeans, though that isn't the store's actual uniform. It's close enough for you to be able to tell where this is going. Also, though I was a male, I was the height of a relatively average female, and had the voice, skin, and hair of one when looked at from the back, so I got mistook for a young female adult a lot. Another note, I was in the store with my little sister, much older brother, and mum. My stepdad was at work. Cast, me, little me, absolute trash heap, Karen, brother, bro, sister, sis, and mother, ma. One Thursday, in little me's opinion, the worst day of the week, ma had decided to take me and my siblings shopping. It was, as you might have guessed, at the store with red circles inside one another. This particular Thursday had been the host of quite a few insufferable instances in school, therefore resulting in a lot of pent-up aggression. At the red circle store, ma trusted me to walk around the store alone, yet this time, I had to help sis find a toy, and then turn him over to bro to be escorted back to ma. Only then could I embark on my own endeavors around the store. Me and sis had arrived at the toy aisle, and she was ecstatic to pick out a toy. Her happiness always has a habit of melting my heart. We find a toy, and she scurries happily to bro a few aisles down. This is when it happens. Karen, having heard me help sis before she entered the aisle, assumed that I was some young woman helping customers around the store. As I was leaving the aisle, Karen snaps her fingers rather violently. "You girl? Come here now." I didn't even know that she was talking to me, but all my aggression came flooding back at the prospect of this old hag ruining someone's day. Me freezes, but doesn't turn around. Karen, now raising her voice and snapping more, "Are you deaf or something? Come here this instant." Now, at the time, I had 30% hearing loss combined with tinnitus, so that was a very sore subject. Me, filled with rage, still doesn't turn around. I hear her footsteps coming towards me, and feel super badass, as I took a step forward just in time to avoid her grabbing me. Me, feels like sans you talking to me? Karen, she sounds like a full-fledged hag now. Who else? Now get over here. She grabs me, and this time I don't avoid it. She pulls and I stagger a bit. Me, number 1, if you want service, you should avoid talking to any other human being as if their gum stuck to your shoe. 2, never put your hand on people. 3, I don't ducking work here. Now, little 13-year-old me knew all the swear words he needed, but had neglected to use them until now. Karen, shouting back at me, how dare you speak that way to a loyal paying customer? I demand your supervisor. Me, you can go get any supervisor in this whole goddamn country before I give a crap. And Karen, how dis? Me, at the top of my lungs, don't ducking interrupt me. I breathe a little, then turn around. Me, you want help? Maybe stop being such a dick so less people quit jobs like this on account of douchebags like you. Ma'am, I am a 13-year-old boy who was helping his sister pick out a toy. Now, why don't you stop making everyone's life a living hell and get out of my sight? She took a good look at me, let go, and scrambled. I felt like I was the most badass kid in the city. Bro, who could hear the whole thing, turned the corner, absolutely gaping at what I had just said. After a moment of shock, he was over the moon. I couldn't get over it for about 2 days, and I never saw that idiot again. Ma heard none of it from across the store, and Sis was distracted with her new toy. I got several stares, but it was so worth it. Also, it didn't help Karen that I had been scrolling through Reddit subs similar to these the night prior. I don't regret it in the slightest, even though it was a bit of an extreme reaction. The next story is titled, I Don't Work There, It's My Personal Number. I moved to Kansas City in 2015 and I took a new mobile number. Now Kansas City metro area is in both Missouri and Kansas states, which gives 2 area codes for phone numbers. I got mine in Missouri, so starts with 816. I took a number which seems fancy, big mistake. Unfortunately, a clinic which deals with stomach has the same number with Kansas state area code. I started to get calls on a semi-regular basis about the clinic. I say wrong number and they hung up. After around 10 calls and 2 months later I realized that they have wrong area code, and most of the times I inform them that they have the wrong area code, or sometimes when I don't remember I just say wrong number. One day, couple of years later, I was traveling to another continent for vacation and had a transfer in Atlanta. I don't have other anxieties, but I am time anxiety. If I am late I will be worried. Like I have to be at the gate at least 30 minutes before the boarding starts. My first flight was late and I'm running across the Atlanta airport. I got a call about the clinic. Now I'm running and worried about the flight. If I miss it my entire trip will be spoiled as I have booked other travel in the other continent. So, I do not remember the clinic. He is an old man. He asks about it, I say wrong number and hang up. I got the call again and am still running, I say wrong number and hang up again. I reached the gate and boarding had already started and also announcing something. I am trying to listen to the announcements and got the call again. I cut the call, but he called again. I am still anxious the flight but answered the call. Old man, I want the clinic and do not hang up. He started speaking loud. Me, no, wrong number, it's my personal number. Old man, no, this is the number they gave me and you are rude. I want to talk to your supervisor. Me, I don't work there. This is my personal number. Remember I am at the gate and in line to board and cannot speak loud. Old man, you are lying. I saw the number and this is the number on the bill. Now you get me your supervisor. You are very rude to me. Me, I was not rude to you. You keep calling to my personal number and harassing me. I just scanned my ticket at the gate and walking in the hangar. My anxiety is gone. Old man, you are not helpful. I am going to complain to your supervisor. If you don't work there then who are you? Me, I am a random Indian guy who is trying to board a flight. You got the number wrong. Old man, I have looked at the number. These are the 7 digits on the bill. Now my brain is working properly as I have scanned the ticket. No way I am gonna miss this flight. Me, sir, you know there are 10 numbers in a phone number. You are using the wrong area code. You need to call for Kansas area code. Old man, I lived in Kansas City all my life. Do you think I do not know which state your clinic is? I have settled in my seat and people are still boarding so I can still speak. I was trying to help this old man. Me, sir, you have 2 options. You can still assume my personal number is the clinic which is going to turn off in 15 minutes once my flight takes off, or you can use the other area code and get to you clinic. I hung up. I cannot risk talking on the plane when the gate is closed. I hope he called the right number later. I did not get a call or voicemail once I landed 9 hours later. I changed my phone after 4.5 years of this, in which I got around 100 calls for that clinic. I did not change because of this reason, but because I switched providers. Now I am getting calls for a guy named Gabriel. Hope I would not have another call like above. The next story is titled, A Karen for Christmas. When I was in college, I worked at a craft and home decor store. It was a Sunday in early November, so the Christmas stuff was out, making things even crazier. I was supposed to clock out at 3 p.m. I didn't end up clocking out until about 3:15 because we were so busy, and then stayed with my friend during her lunch break to talk. When I finally left the break room, it was about 3:50. The break room was in the back of the store, and to get to the exit you had to go through the Christmas tree section, Hell's Forest, and the registers. I had just made it to Hell's Forest when a middle-aged woman turned to me. "Karen, I need you to help me get this Christmas tree from the back. I can't find it anywhere." At first I didn't realize she was speaking to me because I was carrying all my crap and a heavy winter coat. Then I remembered I just so happened to wear a company t-shirt that day, so I couldn't just pretend I didn't work there like how I was trained to act when I was stopped before or after a shift. "Ma'am, I'm sorry, but I actually am off the clock right now." Just as I was about to direct her the nearest working attendant, she stopped me. "Karen, WHAAAAAAAA. How dare you talk to me like that? PSH, off the clock, what kind of excuse is that?" She stormed off, and everyone around just looked at her with confusion. I shrugged it off and continued to the exit. I finally make it up to the registers when Karen shows up out of nowhere and demands that Sadie, my coworker who was at the register with a very long line, help her get a tree. "Sadie, ma'am, we keep that size of tree at the register BC. It's so big and too heavy to carry from the back, so you can just get in line and we will ring you up." Karen was pleased until she saw me leaving. She points at me directly and screams. Karen, she was so rude. She said she was off the clock. Can you believe that? Karen runs off again, and Sadie, the customers, and I all stare at her. Sadie, sorry, she's no longer working. We all have a laugh and I leave. That Friday, I was working the night shift. We had closed the store and were about to leave when my manager realized she forgot to build a drive aisle. I had to stay an extra hour and a half to help her. I was pissed off, but we started to share funny costumer stories to pass the time. I brought up Karen and her tree. Manager, oh yeah, I was supposed to get onto you about that. Me, what do you mean, manager? Well, after you left she came up to me and I double-checked our rule book and it says you have to help the costumer no matter what. Me, but I was clocked out for almost an hour so I couldn't. Manager, no, you should have helped her and then write in the time on the timesheet. Me, but what if it's like my day off and I'm shopping? Manager, you still gotta do it. The next day I called in 40 minutes before my shift and quit. The next story is titled, I don't work here except I totally do. About 6 years ago, I worked as plainclothes asset protection, security, safety regulations, etc., basically catching shoplifters. I would walk around in jeans and a t-shirt and would commonly change my appearance, dye my hair from red to brunette, wear glasses, wear my hair up then down, straighten my hair, leave my frizz, etc. You get the idea, to keep our regular shoplifters from spotting me frequently. I cannot tell you how many times I would be watching a shoplifter from another aisle, pretending to contemplate prices or products with my shopping basket in hand, and have a customer come up and ask me where items were. There was no indication at all. No khakis, no name badge, hell sometimes I'm not even sure my outfits fit dress code. Maybe it was how confidently I walked around the store, but regardless it seemed to happen at extremely inconvenient times. It was always a major highlight of my day though to tell customers, sorry I don't work here. I wish I knew, even though I absolutely 100% worked there and knew. Thankfully if anyone got particularly Karen, why my boss was always watching on camera too, waiting for the apprehension and recording evidence, so he would send a floor associate to casually walk by in all their Wally World glory and ask if they needed help. It was so long ago, I don't remember any specific stories. Honestly, the apprehensions stay in my mind because of the adrenaline rush, but I remember it happening like almost daily. The next story is titled, Never Wore a Polo and Khakis to Shop Again. Background. I was at university for my nursing degree. My nursing program had some odd rules. We wore uniforms at all times. Now this makes sense. In the hospital, we had scrubs in our school color with our school name all over to differentiate from employees. However, in class, lab, simulation we had to wear a different uniform. Tan loafers, khakis, and a white, red, navy polo the school had made with the school logo, the school name, and School of Nursing on the left breastplate. On the right side we had to clip our university ID, same size as a driver's license but with a picture, the university name, and student written in large print. We also had to have another, smaller name tag attached that said, Ms. F last name, nursing student. This double badge was mandatory on both uniforms, and as such, I got used to wearing it and often forgot to take the badges off until I changed out of the uniform. Story. After class one day I stopped by the Walmart to do some grocery shopping. I was still in uniform, bright red polo, khakis, student badges that take up 1/3 of my chest. Grabbed a cart and started loading it up. I was price-checking store brand vs name brand granola bars, college budget, when someone yanks on my arm. Lady, excuse me. I have been trying to get your attention since I walked into this aisle. Me, oh sorry, I didn't notice. Why? Thinking I dropped my keys or something. Lady, I need you to tell me what aisle has paper towels and the aisle for sodas. Me, I don't know. Haven't yet caught on. Lady, what? How do you not know? I swear everyone is incompetent here. Me, oh. I'm sorry I don't work here, points to giant student ID and nameplate, this is my university uniform. Lady, well, you should know these things anyway. Me. Silence. Lady, especially if you are going to impersonate employees. Me, I'm wearing a red polo. Walmart employees wear blue. Lady, you are wearing a polo and khakis. You shouldn't be wearing a polo and khakis to a store you don't work in. I would love to say I got a witty response in, but I was honestly just stunned to silence. She stalked out of the aisle, I finished grocery shopping, and my roommate jokingly yelled, "You shouldn't be wearing a polo and khakis to a store you don't work in." Every time I left in uniform for the rest of the year. The next story is titled, Lady, I'm not the mailman. I'm retired from the Brown Truck Company and numerous people mistake us the United States Postal Service, USPS, important later because our company uses the acronym UP, also important. The very important part of the setup for this story is if you print a return label for Amazon if it's a small package it to be returned via USPS. Now to the fun and frivolity. A regular address on my route, they got something every day from Amazon, had a package. I'm heading to the door and the lady, term used loosely, was on her porch, scan package, hand it to her. I have a return. Cool, in our world our unplanned pickup is a free stop, makes our productivity look better. The conversation follows, me equals me, clueless wonder equals CW. Me okay. CW hands me package. Me, oh, I'm sorry CW, but this has to given to the post office. CW yes, I know, USPS, that's you. Me no ma'am, I'm UPS, USPS is the post office. CW that's you. UPS. Me no, they drive little white trucks and wear blue uniforms and we drive brown trucks and wear brown uniforms. For reasons of sanity and to keep the post below XXL length I'll cut to the end. But the back and forth went on like the old Who's on First comedy routing. Me, lady. I don't work for the post office. They put letters in your mailbox. CW, crickets. Me, have a blessed day, while I'm walking away. I didn't take her return package. The next story is titled, Drunk Karen is angry because I don't know where she parked. This happened years ago. I went to see Tom Petty live with some friends, lost them during the show, that's a whole other story. After the show I am waiting out front to meet up with my group and I guess I must have looked like staff because the next thing I know a woman is tugging on my arm asking me to help her find her car. I try to be helpful when I can so I asked if she knew what section she parked in. Drunk lady, if I knew that I wouldn't be here talking to you. Me, then I don't know how I can help you, sorry. Drunk lady, you don't know much do you? Me, excuse me? Drunk lady, just do your job and find my effing car. Me, lady if you don't know where you parked, I don't know how I would, I wasn't there. Drunk lady, screaming now, I pulled in the south entrance and followed everyone else, you're supposed to be helpful, just help me. Me, oh then your car is over there, pointing in random direction. Drunk lady, was that so hard? Legend says she is still looking for her car to this day. The next story is titled, "No, I don't want to work there anymore either." This happened like 8 years ago and I wanted to get my first job. I got it at a pizza place not so close to my house, like 30 to 35 minutes on the bus. The opening time was at 8 a.m. and closes to 3 a.m. The morning shift needed to be there on 7:30 a.m. to do the opening and the night shift stays until the 3:30 a.m. to do the closure. The new employee will have one of these shifts only after a week of work because we needed to learn how to do it first. I went to my first day of work with a big smile and the first half of the day was very good. The manager was a very kind man who understand that the bigger part of us, the new team, were on our first job and lack on experience and maturity. Apparently they were also on a hurry to get more people to work because a big part of the work team was going to quit by the end of the month. The manager and the old team teach us how to do the work and we got a nice half day. Every good aspect of this job leave with the morning manager because the afternoon manager was a nightmare. This was a very short guy who hated me and any other tall guy at first look. I'm 6.1 tall and this guy, who I called inferiority complex or IC for short, was like 20 centimeters shorter than me. IC will yell to any of us for any minor mistake, or even if there isn't any mistake, give orders and constantly say, "I'm your boss, do it." He just wanted to feel powerful. He even make cry 3 of the new employees, 2 girls and 1 guy. By the end of my working time he gave us our shifts. It said that the next day I had the closing shift and the next one the opening shift. I complained because I was new. I didn't know how to do an opening or closing and I couldn't get any sleep with that kind of shift. But IC just smiled and told me, "You need to be professional, kiddo. Maybe you could get a job painting the ceiling or something if you don't like the shift." So here come the "I don't work here" moment. My parents were very angry and told me to just quit and that I could get something better. I just spoke with a friend and he got me a job at a local store he was working. That afternoon I got a phone call from IC very angry because I wasn't showed to work. I replied that I didn't wanted that shift. He just told me that is needed to behave like an adult and come to work if wanted to work there. I just told him, "I guess I don't work there then." 2 hours later I got another call from IC lecturing me about how immature I was and how real world works. Then he says, "I'm your boss, do what I say." I replied, "You are not my boss, now duck off, dwarf." Then I hang the phone and let it sound over and over. The next day I got a call from the morning manager asking me why I didn't show to work yet. He thought I was just a little late and that my shift was some kind of mistake. I told him why and he tried to convince me to keep working there because several of the new employees did the same as me. I just told him that I had a new job already. He was clearly angry at IC. The day later I got a phone call from IC again, but this time from his personal number. He was furious. I didn't let her talk and told him, "I don't work there." He called me again the next day demanding me to go back to work and do what he say. I got angry and told him, "I do not work there. I do not work for you. You are nobody to demand anything from me. You are not my boss and you are not important. Just an entitled dwarf. Now stop bothering or I will publish your number on a certain website and you will know how is to be bothered by a bunch of random strangers." A childish threat, I know, but it was the only thing that I could think. Some weeks after that I went to buy some stuff with a friend very close to that pizza place. We went inside to grab something to eat and I asked about IC. They just told me that he didn't work there anymore. I don't know if he was fired, but I hope for all his superiors to be taller than him. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comment.